So this right here is the iPhone 16e, and in today's video I'm going to go over everything you need to know to ensure that you are getting the highest quality images possible from this smartphone, because even though this is the most affordable iPhone from Apple, it doesn't mean you need to give up any of the amazing image quality or photography abilities that iPhones are known for. So let's get into it, and big thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. We'll talk about them a little bit later on. Now, a quick backstory on me if you are new to this channel. This channel is typically about photography, but I like to dabble with smartphones because all the abilities I have as a photographer are helpful to people maybe like you who are picking up a new smartphone and you're wondering, how can I use this camera and get the most out of it? So I love making these videos where I apply my years of photography experience to consumer products like this brand new iPhone 16e. So if this video helps you out, do me a solid, hit the thumbs up button and subscribe if you are not yet. But once you have your new iPhone 16e booted up, ready to go, the first thing you're going to do to ensure your images are the best they can be is click on settings and scroll down to camera. Now once you click on camera, we're going to go into formats. Now there are two camera capture modes here that you can pick from: high efficiency and most compatible. Now based on my image quality testing, there's no real difference between either of these. Most compatible is going to give you a JPEG image, where high efficiency is going to give you an HEIF format, which is another picture format that can be read by computers and social media. It's not really a big deal here, but if for whatever reason you're in a very rare circumstance where you have to have JPEG files, go ahead and click on most compatible, but high efficiency should be fine for 99.9% of people out there. Now in photo capture, you're going to want to go ahead and click on that and make sure that 24 megapixels is selected. I believe this is the default on the iPhone 16e, but just in case, make sure you have 24 megapixels to ensure you have the highest quality possible. Now this next step is very important. You're going to want to go down to resolution control and make sure you turn this on. Turning on resolution control gives you more control over the camera as a user. So once we have resolution control turned on, we're going to jump out and go over to our camera just so I can show you what this is doing. When resolution control is turned on, you're going to see this HEIF Max logo in the top right corner of your camera app. You can select this on or off, meaning if there's a hash mark through it, HEIF Max is turned off. When there is no hash mark, that means it's on. Now, when it's turned on to max, you're going to maximize the image quality from the sensor on the iPhone. Now, this is what you want to use if you're in a situation where you want to post or make the highest quality image possible. Maybe it's a family portrait at a family reunion that you're thinking about printing or using on a Christmas card. You're going to want to make sure that you have HEIF Max turned on to get all the potential data and maximize this phone. Now, if you're in a situation where the photo isn't very serious, maybe you're just taking a picture of something funny that you want to send as a text to a friend, you can go ahead and turn that off. And what this is going to do is actually compress the file so it's not going to take up as much room on your phone. So now that you understand that, let's jump back into our settings and we're going to go through a few other things you want to toggle on and off. We're going to go ahead and click out of formats, back to our camera, and we're going to turn on this level setting right here. Now I like this setting because it allows you to see if your camera is level or not when you're holding it up. You're going to see this line that turns yellow when it is perfectly centered, and when it's not, you're going to see the lines essentially trying to converge on one another to show you that you have a level picture. This is something that maybe everyone won't want to turn on. Maybe you'll want to turn on the grid, which gives you the rule of thirds so you can compose an image properly. Personally, I just like that level setting, but I'll leave that up to you. So the last thing we have to do in our settings is jump into preserve settings. Now in preserve settings, you can turn on and off any of these that apply to you, but what I recommend is making sure you toggle on resolution control. What this is going to do is it's going to preserve the settings that you have on your photos even after you close your phone. So if you're someone who likes to use this HEIF Max setting, maybe you're out doing something like traveling, you're doing a lot of sightseeing, and you want to make sure all of your photos are the highest quality possible. If you turn on that preserve setting for resolution control, every single time that you open your phone, you will now have HEIF Max selected. You won't have to keep turning it on and off. So from here, we can go ahead and close our settings and we can open up our camera app. Now, I want to show you a few things that you can do with the camera on the iPhone 16e. So when you go to photo mode, if you swipe up on your screen, you're going to get all of your controls. Now, some of these controls are not as important as others. The first one, this lightning bolt, is for your flash. The second one is for live photo on or off, but this third one is one you want to pay attention to. This is your customizable camera picture profiles. So Apple has a couple different profiles that you can add to your your photo. One of them is rich contrast, one is vibrant, one is warm, one is cool. And you can go through each one of these and decide if you like one, if you don't like one. Personally, I really like the look of rich contrast. I feel like it adds a little bit of punch, of color, and contrast to images. So if you're looking to maximize the look of your photos, you could consider adding one of these to your images. But like all things, it's on you to decide if you like it or not. It's not something you have to do. So now that we've actually captured some images, let's jump into our Photos app, and I'm going to show you some cool things you can do with the iPhone 16e. So in the Photos app, let's select an image that we are happy with, that we want to edit a little bit. What you can do from here is you can click on these three little settings sliders in the bottom of your screen, and this will bring up all the ways you can edit your photo. Now, the first thing that you can do is once again change your exposure, but because these are JPEG images, there's not a ton of data, so I don't recommend going crazy on exposure changes. Now, one cool thing that the iPhone has is something called brilliance. This is the second setting in here. Brilliance is going to add a little bit of punch and contrast to your photo. Each photo is going to be a little different here, so this is something you can experiment with on your own, but personally, I think brilliance is one of the easiest ways to improve your iPhone photos straight from the Photos app. Now, you also have all these other settings like highlights, shadows, contrast, brightness, black point, saturation. One that you want to pay attention to is your vibrance. Vibrance is going to enhance the color of your photo, but it's going to do it more strategically, meaning it's going to leave some of your highlights alone. So if you have a photo, let's say, of a person and you want to bring up the colors in the image, using vibrance is going to allow you to do that without messing with their skin tones, whereas saturation is going to just raise all the colors in the image. So if you're in a situation where you have people in your photo and you want to make it more colorful, use vibrance over saturation. That's a little pro tip for you. Now, the other settings in here are warmth and tint. You can experiment with those on your own. You also have sharpness, definition. You can experiment with those on your own. But another important one is the second to last one, and this is noise reduction. Noise reduction is going to help you bring some grain out of your image. So let's say you're in a situation, once again, with people and you want to smooth out their face a little bit. Maybe they're complaining about the way their skin looks. You can raise up some of that noise reduction and take a little bit of the harshness that the iPhone can sometimes have out of that person's face and out of your image. So once we've made our adjustments, one other thing that you can do with the iPhone 16e that is new to Apple is actually retouch your images straight from the Photos app. So what you're going to do is click on Cleanup right here, and then you're going to go to any part of your image that you want to get rid of, and you're going to draw over it. The phone will select it, and then it will remove it from your image. So in this example, notice how we had that chain hanging up in the top left of our photo. When we use this cleanup feature, it eliminates it, and now we have a cleaner looking photo. You can do this with trash or anything distracting in your image, and it's nice that you can do it all inside the Photos app. For years, I was using an app that I had to pay for, and I was recommending it to people on this YouTube channel, but now, thankfully, you don't have to pay for it. You can do it straight from your phone. So from here, we can click on Done, because those are the main things that you have to pay attention to with photo editing, but there are some more advanced things that you can do that I want to talk about after I thank today's sponsor, Squarespace. So as smartphone cameras continue to improve, more and more people have access to photography, and I can't tell you how many stories I've heard of people who work in my industry who started their entire career on an iPhone. So if you're someone making pictures with your phone and thinking, you know, I kind of want to mess around with this a little bit more, maybe I want to make some side money, maybe I just want to showcase all the things I'm doing with a blog or with an email list, you can do that with Squarespace. Squarespace is what I use for my website, evanramth.com, and what I love about Squarespace is how easy it is for creators like you and me to build a beautiful professional looking website. So if you're someone who wants to showcase your work, Squarespace has a number of different templates that allow you to host a portfolio. And on this channel, I have a video breaking down how to build a portfolio in a more aesthetic way with Squarespace. I'll go ahead and link that in the description down below. And a lot of creators are looking to make a little bit of side money, especially in today's economy. And Squarespace has e-commerce tools that make it easy for people like you and me to easily sell our photography prints. Or maybe you're someone who's mastered how to make photos on the iPhone 16e. You could even make a course using Squarespace courses to sell all the information that you have to other people. So if you're looking to make a side hustle, no one makes it easier than Squarespace and their award-winning templates and tools like Fluid Engine, which allow you to easily drag and drop elements of your website and customize your site with ease. I can't remember when I switched my website over to Squarespace. I think it was in 2017, so I'm coming up on almost 10 years of using Squarespace, and I cannot recommend them enough to anyone who's trying to take their creative endeavors and move them to the next level with a professional looking website. So go to squarespace.com/EvanRamp to start a free trial and use code EvanRamp to save 10% at checkout. That's squarespace.com/EvanRamp to start a free trial. Try out all the great features on Squarespace and use code EvanRamp to save 10% at checkout. Big thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. Now, up until this point, everything we've gone over in this video has been relatively basic, but if you want to take your photography a little bit more advanced, maybe you want to experiment with some stuff that's outside of just the native apps on the phone, you can check out Lightroom Mobile. Now, Lightroom is the program that professionals like me use for all my photo editing. And what Lightroom does is it gives you the ability to essentially edit all pieces of your photo in one interface. Now, this tool is a little bit more complicated, but I want to show you some of the features and how it works. And what's great about Lightroom Mobile is it's completely free. All you got to do is sign in with either your Google account or create an Adobe account. There's a bunch of different options for you. So real quick, let me just show you how this works. So once you download Lightroom, you have your login created. Let's select a photo that we want to edit. Now, one of my favorite features on Lightroom Mobile is the fact that when it comes to cropping your photo, you have so many more options. So when you click on the crop tool, you can select something like auto geometry, which is going to automatically line up the lines in your photo. So this is something that you can't do with the native Photos app when you're editing using those controls. It's only something you can get with an outside app, and Lightroom Mobile is the most comprehensive one. Now, in Lightroom Mobile, you have control over editing like exposure, contrast, highlights, shadows, whites, blacks, which is something we did have control over with the Photos app on the iPhone. So that's not much different. But with Lightroom Mobile, you can actually click on this colors tab right here, and you can click on color mix. And what this is going to allow you to do is edit each individual color channel. So let's say with this photo, we want to bring up the saturation on the reds in our sky. We can select this red saturation slider and we can slide that up and bring out the intensity of our sunrise. So with an app like this, you have a lot more control over customizing and editing your photo. Now, I will say there is a big learning curve here, and it's not something that I want to go through in depth in this video because it would take multiple hours. This would be like a course on Lightroom Mobile, but I wanted to include it in the video because it does give you so many more professional controls that can take these images from the 16E to the next level. Everyone is kind of complaining that this phone is basic, but in reality, you're getting a 48 megapixel file that you can edit using all the apps that everyone else uses. So even though this is the most inexpensive iPhone that is part of the 16 lineup, you don't have to give up quality of photos as long as you know what you're doing. So I'd start with the basic Photos app, do everything we went over in this video when it comes to creating and editing your images, and then jump into Lightroom, play around with it, and it's going to give you so many more controls over what you can do with your photos. But that right there is everything you need to know about the iPhone 16E and how to get the highest quality images possible. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I will try to get back to you the best that I can. If you enjoyed the video, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe if you are not yet, and I'll catch y'all in the next video.